My name is Onthiel Art Umiktak Jr. We are in Amsterdam, or outside of Amsterdam, and I come from Point Hope, Alaska. Tikiraq is the indigenous name, and I'm getting ready to have my hair cut.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. I'm born in 1963 in a village that looks towards Siberia, Bering Strait, towards the Arctic Ocean. I'm indigenous, I'm Inuit. We still have our traditions. We sing the songs but they are songs that are hundreds, if not thousands years old.
Yeah.
Inuit means the people. We should have been stewards of our own land, but we were colonized by American. And before that, it was the Russians who said that they kind of owned us, or the land. The first 4 or 5 years of my life was nothing but Inuit, or from Tikiraq. And then school started, the school system, and then my parents moved to Nome, Alaska, and that's where I started my first schooling in, I think it was kindergarten. I was 5 years old. My village is one of the longest continuously inhabited communities on the North American continent.
Okay.
So we've been there since the beginning of time immemorial, as people like to say. As being Inuit, we hunt the whale, we hunt seals, we hunt walrus, we hunt the animals that migrate through the area, and it's a yearly cycle. So we don't have to really leave the area to survive. In the springtime, when the sod house is thawing out, it becomes moist inside, and it needs some air. So we leave it to dry out so that it doesn't mold. So we need to take care of the house. Then we leave for a couple of months, and we go to gather eggs, maybe go get caribou hunting inland during the summertime, fishing as well along the ocean.
Wow.
Even in the rivers in the fall time we fish, and we get a lot of the caribou. It's good for in the fall time because they have a good fur. Then we can use the fur for our clothing. So we use everything. We still know how to make the sinew, the thread. We make in the old times we made the bone needles. They're finding them in house burials, or houses that were from the 1500s and 1600s. They're finding them right now. Like, they just closed an expedition or excavation because the ocean is eroding the land. And if they didn't do some excavating, most of the artifacts would probably be in the ocean by fall time. So I still make the old tools, and I want to make all the tools or arrowhead, the hunting tools out of copper. In the old days, it was only the shaman that used the copper, and it was like a conduit to another dimension. So I'm going to create a piece that involves copper, and I'm recreating some mascoids that were found in burials, and they involve children. So I'm going to create to honor the children of the boarding schools. And the men had colleges where they would go into and talk about the hunting stories and talk about the ice conditions. The women also had their own quality, but it was more about the home and sewing and making sure that all the food is prepared right for the upcoming season, because we're still there and we still prepare everything the way that my ancestors did. That's how I would rather survive, being Inuit, not instead of being in a contemporary world where we have vehicles. I'd rather go out to the ocean and hunt instead of with a snow machine. I'd rather walk. You know, it's this modern era has made it so easy for us to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was all hand tools. Everybody made their own weapons, because they are also weapons, because we also had warfare. As artists, we all make our own tools so that we can hunt, and it's a way of our survival. Go back to our way of thinking without religion, without the U.S. government looking over our shoulders. We're a society of hunters that hunt whales in a specific way. We use technology, and we've had to adapt and use that technology because of climate change, because it's changed our way of hunting so much, because the ice condition is not even close to what it used to be 50 years ago. 50 years ago we had ice as tall as this trees. We don't see the old ice coming back like it used to. There's no ice for the polar bears, for the walrus, for the animals to get off and feed from the bottom. Now they're coming on shore, and when they get startled, they get trampled. So it's not good. They have to change. The animals have to change. How do we change in such a short time? We have to adapt. The animals, how do they adapt? I don't know yet. We're lucky. We can build things to adapt to animals. They're still the same. Without them, we have no existence. Hopefully, someday, my goal in life is to have my own passport.
Yeah.
Because every country in the world has their own passport. I travel under a U.S. passport. My true identity is Inuit. I want to travel with an Inuit passport and not a U.S. passport that's only 250 years old. My culture is way older than the U.S. government. The older I get, the more I want to be independent from the U.S. as an indigenous person. Everything was oral traditions and handed down verbally. And in the early 60s, we now have a written language. So we can write everything down in our language. There were a lot of stories that were being told in the 70s, cassette tape and recorded that way. Also through video, which the first generation video was not very clear. So there's a lot of scratchiness or white noise in it. It's incredible how much technology has evolved. The cameras, but also the tools that we use to hunt. Because now it's like everybody has their rifles and we're all expert marksmen. We can all shoot probably through your ear hole. That's how good people are aiming these days. The snow goggles are there to prevent snow blindness. We were also opticians, so we know how to take care of people's eyes. Everything, we have to know everything. I'm proud of my grandparents for teaching us how to survive in the world of the Inuit. No bad weather, just bad clothing. So when we make our clothing, we make sure our stitches are windproof and they're all fur. I don't need clothes to survive, but I know how to make them. There's a lot of food out there. I can make jackets with ducks. Yeah, skin them and make duck jacket. It's nice and warm. Well, actually, I know how to survive anywhere because here there's a lot of there's a lot of trees. I can find a lot of wood to make a shelter. I can make my tools, harpoons, a bow and arrow. Why not? I can make it all. The wood is available. They're all learning from the internet now. They're not learning from the elders like we did. Truly lived off the land. They're all gone. Can't go back to that time. We can still kind of live that way with the use of modern technology if we start thinking with alternative energy instead of fossil fuels. Because that's what really sped up climate change. But we're still here. We're still living off the land too much. That caused so much mental health problems since the introduction of colonialism. But that's only been since the late 1800s, 1890 to 1910. That time frame was when the church was introduced. It really scared a lot of Inuit into becoming Christian. Luckily, my family kind of resisted, but my grandmother knew the Bible forwards and backwards. I understand about the Bible, but I still want to know more about my own religion, my true identity. The first colonizers, they treat everybody so bad. We have especially racism. The indigenous people were below. We were treated like dogs. Actually, there's a lot of signs in the 60s that said no colored people or dogs allowed. Colored people meaning black or Native American. The world is crazy. It's unbelievable how the generations have been affected by colonialism. That's a hard word for me to say. Well, 1826 is first contact in my village. 1820 is the first recorded sighting of my village. There was 6 years of no contact. Maybe they were afraid because my village is a strong community. And even after first contact, they made another little village 5 miles from my village. Colonizers could stay there instead of coming into our village. If we didn't teach them how to survive in Alaska, they wouldn't have survived. But we're not that kind of people. We like to help people. We want to help everybody survive. My father was born in 37. My mom was born in 40. They're both gone. My dad only lived to be 46. So he was very young. I'm 60. I'm an old man. I don't feel old, but society has me as a senior citizen in Alaska. I'm an old man in Alaska. I still feel young though. I'm only 28. I was only 6 years old when my grandfather passed away. I moved to mostly lived with my grandparents as a young kid.
Yeah.
Because my parents were always either working or doing something, taking care of the animals so that we can eat. So my caretakers when I was young was my grandparents. I'm a carver because I used to watch my grandfather carve. You can walk around the village and see the carvers, the elders carving outside, making masks, they were making kayaks, they were making umiak for hunting. Because with the umiak, if you tip over, you're in the water. With the kayak, if you tip over, you can tip back up.
And if you go with the water in Alaska,
you can roll it. You have 3 minutes. 3 minutes if you fall in the water, especially if there's ice, because you get hypothermia. And if you're fully clothed, your clothes are gonna get so heavy and drag you down. It would be almost impossible to get out of your clothing, out of the water, unless somebody pulls you up. But I know some people that were under the water for 45 minutes. Under the water, they're still alive. Because of the extreme drop in temperature, and you hold your breath, and then you're under the water, and then you just don't breathe anymore.
Yeah.
If you hold your breath and if you don't release the air, then you have a chance. But they can't just revive you. Like if they pull you out, they can't just revive you right away. They have to wait that 45 minutes to start CPR. The blood vessels might be at that point of almost frozen. If you try to start doing compressions on a partially frozen body, you're gonna kill the person. My father was stationed in the National Guard, and so he was kind of military up in Alaska.
Yeah.
So and my mother was a cook at the hospital in Nome, Alaska. So I grew up, I started school there, then we moved back to Point Hope when I was in, I think, 2nd grade. And then we moved to Barrow, Alaska when I was in 4th grade. We did say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America in the morning. That was our start that was our first start. I guess that's how assimilation starts, huh? Through the schools. We learn how the government works. We learn how the society works instead of hunting for our own food. Then we learn how to write. We learn how to go to school. We learn how to use our hands to write something instead of going to hunt birds to eat. You know, it changed my life. Now I think like an American. But I'm still Inuit. I'm still 100% Inuit. I'm still here. Our mind has been trying to change through society, but my ancestors won't let it go the old ways. The ancestors are too strong. My name is Anakurutok, Inuit. That's it means the place to go to the bathroom. I interpret that as I can take a lot of crap. I know how to take a lot of information. I know how to take the information and not let it bother me, because we have ICC, the Inuit Circumpolar Council, where all the governments are in. We have some rights as humans. We've never been given the chance to govern our own land. That come in and people make laws and they say, okay, now you have to abide by them. The government wanted to stop duck hunting. The first duck hunter was going to jail, and so the people said, that's not right. We're hungry. Hunger knows no law. So every hunter is gonna go get a duck, and then we're gonna go ask to be put in jail. So there was no room for everybody. So how could they jail everybody in the village, huh? When we feed the people, we celebrate that hunt to honor the animals that we eat, hunt, because it gives us our existence. Now I have to make money to live and pay my rent. But now I work in a coffee shop in a Bluebird in Amsterdam, and it's a lot like a retirement job. You know, I'm 60. I get the freedom to do anything I want. I can exist through my carvings, and I can just find a piece of wood on the street and carve something as long as I have my knives. I have so many ideas to create images. I create transformations that tell stories of my culture. So I create this image of the moon in 2017. So it's a moon mask, and there's 10 whale tails. And in my village in 2017, we got 10 whales. So it's in honor of those 10 whales that we got. It's a bucket to carry water, and when the full moon comes, I ask, or the whaling captain's wife would ask for the spirit of the whale through the moon on a full moon. There's just few people who know about these things, and I'm one that has followed the masks. I got my degree in art with a minor in computer science at the university. I worked as a graphic artist in Portland for 7 years, and then I started doing art shows at the Portland Art Museum. And then in 1997 through 2000, I took first place in Northwest Coast Art, the 250 Native American artists. And I had a booth, and it was just a fun time to be indigenous, because it was like I was very young as far as an artist, just starting to grow, and then got recognition. Next thing I knew, I was doing a one-year exhibit at the Heard Museum in Phoenix, Arizona. Mm-hmm. And then I started doing indigenous gatherings as a carver, and I would carve with other indigenous peoples. I went to New Zealand. I started carving snow in Japan. It's like everything, wow. everything was going crazy. And then now here I am in Amsterdam. Amsterdam is kind of a strange story. I was living in Alaska in my village, and then this lady came. She ended up being my third wife. She wrote a book, or did a photo book of my village, one of the best books in Amsterdam as far as photo books in 2018. My two oldest were born in Oregon. My third was born in Hawaii, and my fourth is born here in Amsterdam. They consider Alaska home. So it tells of my culture. I quit drinking 4 years ago because it just messed with my mind too much. I can't deal with it. If I drink, I might as well just put a gun to my head and just say forget life. You know, life for me is about teaching the younger generation how life was, so that we don't forget about the ancestors. Yeah, because now at 60, I don't want to forget how life was, how my life started, because I came into this world crawling. I'm probably going to leave this world crawling. We all leave this world at a certain point. Now, if I left at 60, I would be comfortable. I would have no problem. My children, they would be confused because they are born in this society of the computer age, and they're still in that process of assimilation, even though it's a continuing process. No matter what, if we don't stop this process by educating the world of who we are as Inuit, if we get our own passport, that would bring our identity back. You know, it would be like, oh, we are Inuit, not U.S. citizens. We're Inuit, you know. We're not Canadian citizens, we're Inuit. We're not Denmark citizens, we're Inuit. We come from Greenland, we come from Canada, we come from Alaska, we come from Siberia. Yeah, we survive. We're survivors.
Yeah, sure.
We're still here.
Not